Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Promo Show with Cazzy Bee. We are at episode 4 of season 5. So I just want to welcome you once again to another episode here at the Promo Show with Cazzy Bee. I have a wonderful guest this afternoon. I'm going to save all of that in a moment to just let you know all about her. In the meantime, I just want to welcome you all. If you are tuned in to us from wherever you are, if you are, let me see, if you're watching us all the way in London, it's good afternoon. So hello, good afternoon. Today is Sunday, the 26th of October. It's a little overcast here in the ATL, but nevertheless dry, so we're happy about that. If you're tuned in from anywhere around the world, so as I said, good afternoon or good evening if you're across the pond over in the UK, and of course all of my folks who are tuned in. I know I've got India always tuned in, and people from around the world, Australia, Germany, Canada, wherever you are, welcome. We are live today on the YouTube on Catch the Buzz, and that's Buzz with a B-U-Z-Z-Z, it's an extra B. We're also live on Facebook on the Promo Show Facebook page. It's just Promo Show. We're also live on Bacchanal TV. And of course, the guys, this will be shared to TikTok and also shared on my Facebook page on Cazzy Bee. So if you're tuned into us live, go ahead and share the feed, share the live, let everybody know that you are here with us on Sunday afternoon. We've got a great show for you. This is a show for you and any one of your peers. If you're looking for a job, if you're stuck in a job and you're looking to, pivot your career, make changes in any way whatsoever, this is the show for you. So I am definitely going to be tuned in and listening to everything my guest has to say, because I'm in that space. I would love to do a complete pivot. If I could do media for the rest of my life, I would do that. But of course, we're in very uncertain times, so we've got to know how to pivot. So that's what this show is all about. It is not impossible. It's definitely possible, but we just need to be able to do that pivot. So make sure you tune in. So one thing I do want to say before we get started, I need to thank my sponsors. So that's always, let me just get to my page of thanking all of my sponsors. So first up, Young Dreamers International. I spoke about Young Dreamers International at my previous show. It's a company that empowers young men, brown and black men, into leadership and service. It's headed by Minister Samantha Samuels. She has received numerous awards for this program, most recently the Captains of Industry Award, which she received in August of 2025. So telephone number is 404-661-0400, and that's youngdreamersint.org. Then we also have Caribbean International Shipping. Of course, 30 years in the business. You don't get to 30 years if you're not a great company. So kudos to Caribbean International Shipping, shipping barrels and boxes, household goods to the Caribbean, to Central America, and to South America as well. The holiday season is upon us. So make sure you contact Caribbean International Shipping for all of your goods. 30 years in the business, like I said, telephone number 770-323-1111. And they're also very, very nice people. So make sure you reach out to them. My Green Card Express, another one of my favorite companies, and their immigration consultancy. Contact Miss Jackie Brown. Her number is 678-933-2499. And she can also be reached at mygreencardexpress.com. So make sure you hit her up and just let her know that you heard it first right here on the Promo Show. This month is Black History Month in the UK. October of every year. It started in 1987 in the UK. It's also celebrated in Canada, Germany, and Ireland in the month of October. Here in the United States, we celebrate in February, the shortest month. Isn't that something? But in October, which is one of the longer months, it is celebrated across the pond. So kudos to them. I was just in London and there wasn't a lot, kind of out in the main area, but I know there was a lot of different Black history celebrations happening. So it gives everyone the opportunity to share and to celebrate and understand the impact of Black culture and heritage, which is very important because it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So we will continue to celebrate Black history. Also, I am wearing my pink. Okay, let me twist myself for the camera. So I'm wearing my pink, and in the background you will see, again, breast cancer. October is Breast Cancer and All Cancer Awareness Month. So salute to all the brave women and men. Men do get breast cancer as well. So salute to all the brave women and men fighting or who have fought breast cancer. So the ones, they're the ones who are very brave and going through this fight. So keep fighting on. You have a lot of support. Also, this month is early voting. So I don't know where you are or where you're based, but make sure you Google what's happening in your city, in your state, about voting. Here in Atlanta, in the ATL in Georgia, I have already voted. So I love voting early. There's no lines. It's very easy. But this year, November 6th, there's a lot of different elective elections happening around the country. We are gearing up for, of course, next year for midterms when there's going to be a hell of a lot more. So get used to early voting now because November 2026 is going to be a big, big year for voting. But if you are in a state that is having early voting right now, I suggest you to Google them and see what's happening in your area and get out there and vote. Okay. I know there's been a lot of text messages, a lot of flyers in the mail and so forth. I can't wait until it's over, but we need to make sure that this happens now. So we got to get out there and vote. Now, prayers for Jamaica. So what's happening right now is the hurricane in Jamaica is Hurricane Melissa. And apparently it is it's going to be the largest storm that Jamaica has ever experienced. So this is a serious storm, guys. So if you know anyone, I know I have a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Jamaican friends, and they got family and friends over in Jamaica. So they're saying that it could be Jamaica's strongest storm on record. So that is a big deal. So please, please, please make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. This is a serious storm. No point trying to be, try and race against the storm, but just make sure you take care and get your relatives warned as to what's happening over there in Jamaica. We're still in hurricane season. So yes, it's definitely a trying time. Now, so without further ado, what I'm going to do right now, I do have my ads to play. Of course, we got to make sure that we get the bills and everything paid around here. And then I will bring my wonderful, give her all the props in the world, my wonderful guest, my VIP guest. All my guests are VIP. This is a special VIP guest. Her name is Miss Abby Locke, a friend of mine, someone who I've known and respect. So I know that what she has to say is something that you need to hear. So I will bring her to the stage as soon as my ads are run and we get these bills paid. So here we go.
Wagwan, this is Moto from St. Lucia, bigging up the promo show with Cazzy Bee. You don't know. Lock in. Moto there.
Well, this is Baby Shama. You're locked into Cazzy Bee on the promo show. Can you hear me? This a survival story. This a Cazzy Bee story. Rah!
Oh my God, I love that. I love that for Baby Shan. And of course, I've got to play my favorite girl. You know, she is my girl. So I got to get her to the stage and then we will bring Abby to the stage.
Yo, this is a girl Patricia, but I'm big up to the promo show with Cazzy.
I love Patrice Roberts. She's one of my idols. Anyway, so without further ado, like I said, we have Miss Abby Locke. I'm going to bring Abby to the stage right now. Abby, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hey.
Oh, there she is. Hello, hello. Abby Locke.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. Let me know if it's too much of a glare on my glasses. I tried to sit by the window.
I know, mine too. It happens. It happens. But if I take it off, I won't really get to see much. So
me either.
Well, thank you for giving me a little bit of your Sunday afternoon, so that we can talk about a number of things, but in particular, we want to talk about career pivots in uncertain times, and we are right here in these uncertain times. So before we kind of run through, so I do have a couple of questions, but before we kind of get to those questions, tell us a little bit about you. I know you've been in this space for a while, and so that's why, whenever you speak, I listen because I know that you know what you're talking about. So tell us a little bit about Abby.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know quite where to begin, but I'll hone in on the pieces. You can see me okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll hone in on the pieces that really relate to pivoting, right? So whenever I think of life pivots or career pivots, it's something that we've all gone through. Certainly, I've had my own share of career pivots. The irony is that me coaching and helping people with career pivots, the reason I got here was through a career pivot. But what it really boils down to, I find a lot of joy and I find a lot of pleasure in helping people to understand that they don't have to stay boxed in. So whether a pivot comes into your life unexpectedly or you didn't plan, or you're contemplating a pivot but thinking, I don't really know how to go about doing that, or I don't think that it's possible. I like working with people to help to show them that it's possible. So I work with just about anyone, but in particular, I focus on an audience of women and other senior level professionals who are in the 50 plus space. So you're over 50. And for people who are over 50, anyone can resonate. There's so much change that is happening in life to begin with that often what comes out of seasons, especially uncertain seasons like these, is get to thinking and questioning and pondering and wondering what's next, and more importantly, what's possible. So I love taking that journey with people and helping them to understand that a career pivot is not about starting over. You're starting with experience and you're repositioning your value for what's next.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the good thing is that people think that they're alone. You're not alone. There's so many people that are doing or thinking of doing so many things. And then the other thing to note is a lot of people are unhappy in their jobs, but they stay unhappy, they stay miserable, they do nothing about it. And if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result.
Absolutely.
If you're not willing to make a change, you are going to get the same result.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on in particular are the older folks. So it's okay to talk to, to the 20-year-olds or the ones just jumping out of college. They got plenty of time to try various things. But if someone is in their 50s, even late 40s, I would say, but in their 50s in particular, and they're thinking of perhaps, maybe I can do something a little different that I've always wanted to do. I have more time behind me than I do ahead of me. So let me try something different. What would you say to those people?
I say absolutely. Often the thing that keeps nagging at you is the thing that you want to stop and to acknowledge. So more people, it's not that you wake up one day and decide you want to do something different. While that can be the case, it's usually seeds that have been planted, things that you've ignored, going along with quote unquote stability or certainty, which is just a different form of comfort zone, um,
Mhm.
calling itself security. Give into it, at least explore it, right? If you're in a position that you're still employed, there's been no change, no concern about losing your job there, then you even have more time to explore what's possible. And it always starts with what I call self reinvention. It starts with exploration, it starts with going deep. And that's often where people sometimes get overwhelmed, because especially if you've been in a career and you've been on a path for a long time, people can't even begin to conceive what is next.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of times it's separating your identity from what you have done and being able to look organically at what strengths and what values you believe you bring to the table.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. Oh, one of the things that when I talk to people about things like this, I always say, what about trying a new course? What about just, you don't quite know what it is that you want to do. How about just doing a course in that topic and see if it's something that you like? So, for example, we're living in a world with AI, with Chat
Mhm,
GPT. It's not going anywhere. It's just getting started,
mhm.
actually. Well, it's been around for a while. People just didn't know that they were using it, but they were using it. But it's now really kind of hitting home at everything that we do. And we're seeing companies, kind of downgrading their employees and switching them you know, with AI technology to replace, certain jobs. So, do you think taking a course is a good idea to get people onto a different path or trajectory?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the ways, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
can sit and play in your mind for as long as you can. You can research, and we're in the age of information technology. There's no place that you can't find information, and especially with tools like AI, all
Yeah,
the information is available. But at some point you have to like try it out, right? So you can talk to people who are in the field. Can you shadow people? Can you be a part of projects? Can you take courses like you said? Can you attend conferences? Can you read books? I mean, we don't have a lack of access to information and resources and knowledge. um, and definitely, I love that you touched upon AI, because AI is not going anywhere.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's less about, am I going to lose my job to AI? AI is a perfect way to pivot. In what ways, if you step back and looked at your job, in what ways can I leverage AI tools to help what I do to increase productivity or efficiency? How important is AI in this new field that I'm looking at? In what ways can I leverage AI to bring innovation in this new area that I'm exploring? So certainly it starts off with taking a class, and honestly starts off with just asking questions. Talk
Yeah.
to someone who's in the field.
Yeah, I have a lot of people who are in various fields. So let's say, for example, IT. So if you're in
Mhm,
the field of IT, and which is always evolving anyway,
mhm.
and you hate IT, you hate anything to do with computers, but you're good at creativity. You're good at your hands. You're good at doing some other things. What would you say to someone like that who's thinking of doing that pivot? Because that's a big change. That's two completely different industries. That is not rolling from one to the other.
It's two completely different industries, but you never know what you already have until you start to do some of the research. For example, I do career development. I'm a career coach, and my background was business management. I did an MBA with a concentration in finance. I'm a pretty analytical person. If I was on the outside, I wouldn't have necessarily seen how it can come together, but it's about trying and learning more about it. So if your field is in IT and you're thinking you want to go into something that's very creative, well, research alone would help you to identify, well, when you say creative, what exactly are you thinking of, right? Is it
Mhm.
creative writing? Is it theater? Is it media? Is it marketing? And more often than not, when I work with people, they have more working for them than they realize. But you never know unless you pause and really put it down on paper.
Yeah.
What is it that these jobs require? Job responsibilities, skills, competencies, technology. What is it that I should know? Are there certifications? What is it that I already have? And how can I pivot? Identify where the gaps are, and then how you can fill the gap. Does it mean that I take a part time job? Does it mean that I take courses? Does it mean that I take a
Mhm.
certification? So instead of automatically ruling yourself out, start to look for ways in which you can bring pieces of the puzzle together. And sometimes it does help to work with someone because sometimes we're too close to ourselves to recognize what we're bringing to the table. I'll give one quick example. I worked with someone successfully, and this was many years ago before people were really talking about pivots, where
Mhm.
she had been in banking over 20 years of her life and wanted to shift into nonprofit, and was just like, I just don't even know how that is possible. And we were able to work together, and she was able to make the pivot. Often the things that you have this interest in, it's coming from somewhere, and it may not be in every case, but you often have something that's transferable. And a lot of times people don't think what I
Yeah.
have can be transferable, and it can.
Oh yeah, for sure. That transferable skills, man, people are they're hiding so much that they don't even know.
Hmm.
But of course, the world that we're living in now, it is very uncertain. It's uncertain
Hmm.
in so many ways. People are definitely having to pivot in various ways. When you speak to the average person, they either have a vending business that they do at the weekends. They
Hmm.
work there Monday to Friday. If you're here in Georgia, like I am, nearly every two people that you bump into are realtors,
Hmm.
including myself. We all have a realtor license. We might not be 100% there every single month, but at least we have it. So traditionally you would get a resume together, walk into a business, hand that resume in, and bam, wait for a call. That is not what we do today. So tell us a little bit about how do we even get in the room to be able to get notice. How do you get notice on paper? How do you get notice online?
Well, I love what you said because it acknowledges the elephant in the room. We are certainly in a space of what feels like rapid evolution, change, uncertainty. When the reality, if we take a step back and we look at it from a place not of full emotion, which sometimes is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard not to do. Every industry, every time period, there's always change, right? The growth comes with change, right? Revolution comes with change. Innovation brings change. So it always seems like right when we get very comfortable and settled with something, then here comes change, right? If you think back to when the internet first came on the scene and everybody was
Yeah.
trying to figure it out and figure out a .com, and oh my gosh, how can we figure it out? And there was a lot of stops and starts and errors and failures and getting back up. So I think beyond what you put on a resume, beyond how do I get myself noticed, it's really being able to embrace the art and the strategy of learning to pivot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't see things coming down the pipeline or things right in your face and not wanting to address it. I know someone who was in marketing but always stayed away from everything that was modern, didn't like being on social media, didn't like being online. And that's all fine. But over time, what do you think has happened to that person? Their relevance, their skill set has really become outdated. So before you worry about, well, how do I get myself noticed? What is thriving? Pay attention to what is thriving, what is important, and what is booming right now. and how do I get on board with that? And you and I had just talked about that. I think it was on Friday, about this AI thing is not going anywhere. How do I learn to leverage AI? If I get good at AI tools, what would it mean for me moving forward? So before we even get to the resume, make sure that your own skill set, your competencies are keeping
Mhm.
a pace as with the changes that are happening now. AI is in a feels like it's in a different category. Oh my God, everything is changing overnight. But really, when we think of what happened with online and social media and all these things that have come out, it felt really, really rapid and overwhelming when it first came out. But
Mhm.
those of us who have survived and learned to reinvent themselves have been those that have realized changes come in, and how do I get on board, right? You
Yeah.
either hire the right people to help you get on board, or you take some classes, or you learn. I mean, I literally remember when blog, a lot of people don't know this, blog really stands for web log. That's how it, I remember when that
Uh-huh.
was the first thing. And now, I mean, we got Instagram and TikTok and everything else.
And everything. And you have YouTube and podcasts,
And yes, exactly, exactly.
because so many people. I've had my YouTube account for years. You have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube account,
Mhm,
and I never ever utilized it until it came to a point where it's now trendy to have a
mhm,
YouTube. Everybody has a YouTube, but then now you have to use your YouTube. It can do so many things.
absolutely.
I remember when cable was a big thing. Now
Mhm,
streaming, people are not even getting. I haven't had cable for years because everything is now streaming. So you do have to, be on top of the times. You have to really adapt. Change is always going to be here.
mhm,
You can't, cry and scream about it. You have to adapt to
mhm,
change. You
mhm,
really do. One of the biggest changes in careers, or just looking for a new career, is your resume. That
mhm,
is a huge change. And I know a little bit about this because I've gone through this in the last year, maybe a year and a half. Your resume, first of all, can't be longer than 2 pages. Nobody wants to read a book when
mhm,
they've got it in front of you. They don't care about where what education you have, or where you went, they're more concerned about your experience more so than anything when you're looking for a job. That still has to be on there for verification when you go through background, but primarily they're looking at the experience. What can you bring to our table? Because we need the table filled now, and we want to make sure we have the right person. So back in the day, resumes were 2, 3 pages long. You didn't have to change it. You could have the same resume from job to job to job to job. What are the different or key things or key takeaways now that you need to have on a resume? And is it true? Because I've heard, is it true that you have to adapt your resume to literally every single job that you apply to or are thinking of applying to?
Great, great questions. And it's such an interesting time. And someone like me, who I started off first being very focused on resumes, and obviously that has evolved and changed so much, right? Um, I like how you said it's not, it's about your experience, but I'll tell you it's more than that, because it truly is an employer's market. So when you focus on, I have X number of years of experience, I have this education and this credential and this certifications, you look behind, there's like 2,000 people that can say the same thing. So
Right.
on your resume, it's really about telling a story of impact in the jobs that you've held. What is the difference that you have made? If you're looking back on, I was at 5 years with, I don't
Mhm.
know, American Express. Okay, how did American Express get better by you being there? What impact did you make? What did you introduce? What new programs did you implement? What cost savings? I mean, there's 10 different ways in
Yeah,
which you
yeah.
can communicate value to an employer. You don't have to do all 10, but you want to touch on some of those 10. So I'll give a quick example of some of the
Mhm.
10. Obviously, make money, save money, bring a new product to market, increase market share, improve productivity, improve team dynamics, technology, coming up with new
Right.
business ideas. There's so many different ways. So you don't want it to read like a job description, right? You
Mm.
want them to always understand the scope of what you've done, because then they're still comparing you to other people. So if I've managed 100 people and you've managed 2,000, well, there's a difference in how we're going to be viewed in terms of our capabilities. So you still want to hone in on, the number of people, maybe the budget size, the number of locations, some of the big key things. But the focus and the main points with each position, let it be impacts and contributions. Absolutely. That has to make a difference, because that's where they're going to see where you would fit in. And then to quickly address the other part of your question, where you said, do we need to tailor it to every opportunity? And
Yeah.
we absolutely do. But here's a little insider tip from a resume writer. You do a lot of the work up front. If you get focused and you really clarify what you want to target, you put the effort into, for each of your jobs, what are some of the tasks that I've done or accomplishments that I've done that relate to marketing. If I'm looking at marketing, but I'm also considering, I don't know, nonprofit, how do I pivot what I've done to be more relevant to that? So when someone reads it and they're spending a very, very short time reading anything, you want to make sure that you're speaking the language that they understand. So it goes back to the research. What is it that
Yeah.
they want? I literally tell people, create a table on the left side, what they ask for, what I'm bringing to the table. The gap,
Yes.
put the effort in to fill it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And of course, you also have your career stories. I remember when I got laid off and I had some coaching, here in the ATL, they talked about career stories. You
Mm-hmm.
have to write a story so that you remember it, so you don't have to think about it when you get asked a question. Because, it's fair to say that most employers want to know, they always start, why, tell me a time when. When
Mm-hmm.
you hear that, you immediately need to think of your story. So you
Mm-hmm.
write down 3 good stories, even the negative, because sometimes you want to hear, and I will say this, I actually had that question just recently. They say to me, well, tell me a time when you didn't do, complete a file and satisfied one of your clients. And I'm like, I really struggled, because I said, I don't think I've ever not, finished a file, because I can't leave it unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
So I really struggle with that question, but you do have to have the good and the bad, because no one's perfect. They want
Mm-hmm.
to see that you have range, and if you do have something negative, how did you switch and how did you make it into a
Mm-hmm.
positive? So
Mm-hmm.
you've got to,
Absolutely.
that preparation is key, and I know that's what you do. That's what you
Yes.
do. That's what you bring to the table. So how do people find you, and why would they need you and your services? What is missing that they would absolutely need to have a coach in their lives?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, they
Hold on
can
one second.
find.
And I say that because I've got comments here. I know you can see the comments. I've got folks who are saying lifelong learning. Abby knows. Hold on. Let me see. It says here, I'm a client of Abby. She is wonderful. We have got people on the live saying how remarkable you are, how powerful you are as an experience. And like you said, they don't know what they don't know. And you bring that service to the table for them. So tell us a little bit,
Absolutely.
Abby, about some of the other services that you can bring to someone.
Absolutely. Well, first, they can reach me very easily, abbylocke.com. And there's no E in Abby, but there is an E in Locke. So they can do that. Here's how I tell potential clients. I'm the bridge between where they are now and where they want to be. And if you could have done it on your own or figured it out on your own, you would have been able to do so. So what I provide is a safe, confidential space for us to unpack and to do some of that work, starting with mindset. Sometimes it's overcoming a hurdle of mindset, of believing that you can do it, and moving beyond fear and being able to look at all of your experience objectively, and be able to identify what is already working for you, what you're already bringing to the table, the value of your accomplishments, and how do we package and position that for your pivot.
I love it. I love it. And Abby, you're also available on LinkedIn. Do you think LinkedIn is important in this day and age for job hunting and careers, changing careers or pivoting?
It's one of those things. In the same way, like having a resume is important in a job search, absolutely LinkedIn is important. But like anything else, you don't get the best out of it unless you leverage it. And it can
Yeah.
be a little overwhelming at times because there's a lot of people on there and a lot of information on there. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, it's attracted some scammers, but it still is a tool that provides you 24/7 online visibility. So a lot of times, one of my more standard packages is people work with me on their resume, and then we do their LinkedIn. So as you correctly indicated, the resume we're going to cap at 2 pages. The LinkedIn, because we can add different sections and profiles and other bits of information, we could add, writing samples and media clips and reels and all of those things, that the LinkedIn profile truly becomes, again, that 24/7 online profile that people can access and learn about your background at any time. So absolutely get on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and absolutely. We've got Randy Shirley. Hello, Randy Shirley, saying Abby's expertise completely transformed my career path. So we've got testimonials live and direct. So we know that Abby Locke is the person to contact if you're looking for a career change. One of the other things I wanted to mention as well, when I worked for Randstad a long time ago, and we would have folks coming with their email addresses at I don't know, polo dancer number 3 at
Yeah.
gmail.com, or
Yeah.
or something strange. And then the other thing as well is, if you go to their LinkedIn page, they will have a picture where they're in not a bikini, I'm kind of exaggerating, but
Mhm, mhm,
they would have an inappropriate picture, which is
mhm,
not really should be on LinkedIn. It should more or less be on Snapchat than LinkedIn.
mhm.
So what would you say to folks, they're serious, right? What would you say to them for visibility on a whole, and also your name and email addresses? What's the rule?
When you get online, remember it's like the same as being in person. Remember when during the pandemic, when everybody had switched to Zoom and people would show up and they're half dressed and then they would stand up and you find out somebody's not wearing pants or somebody forgot to turn something on.
Oh
You're
my
only
God,
able to
hilarious.
present yourself in the same professional way. And I'm really glad you mentioned the email address. I usually
Yeah.
recommend to my clients, create an email address that's just for job search. Make it simple, just your name, job search. Number one, it means that every time you log into that particular account, at least you know it's all job search stuff and it's nothing else. So you're keeping it, you're keeping yourself organized and you're keeping it clean. And with
Mhm.
your picture, keep it professional. And let's be real, there's too many AI tools out here that you could upload different shots of yourself and it would take it and tailor and make something completely professional for you to get it done. So we're in the age, we have no reason for it to not look professional. So that's just
None whatsoever.
some some of the the aesthetics. The content, like you said, I love when you said career stories. I always tell people it's like your career success stories. I always say have a collection of them. And if you really want to be organized, organize them according to different themes,
Yeah.
and impacts and keywords, so that you're able to pull out those stories. LinkedIn, where the resume has to be very concise and has to get quiet after 2 pages, LinkedIn allows you to do more. Now, you don't want to create something that's so crowded and it's hard to read, but you can put more. I've started doing my LinkedIn profiles a lot more narrative style, so that people are
Mhm.
literally reading this online career story. Make it interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, people, exactly, because when you are in front of someone, you don't want to. People can tell when you're nervous, and of course, we all get
Mhm,
nervous if we're sitting down having an interview for a job that we really want, especially.
mhm.
And it's also easier to find a job when you have a job because you don't have that pressure. But
Yes.
if you don't, if you have that story and you read it to yourself over and over again, you'll remember it.
Mhm.
It's like a song. You remember the words, you remember the flow. So it doesn't make it that hard. You know how the story began, you know the middle part of the story, and you know the end of the story. And those are the three most important things. You know, make it short, sweet, but memorable.
Absolutely.
I found this little flyer here. I can't even remember where I found it. It could have been on your page. Maybe it was on somebody else's page, but it has the old way in which we did job hunting to now the new way. So just at a glance, you can see the old way. It was very much get your resume, go to the, you know, in front of someone, upload your resume, you go through the interview, 1 or 2 rounds, and bam, you get an offer. These days, there's so much more that's going into it. Even though it looks a little complex, it's actually something where, you know, it's work. You got to put in the work.
Have to.
You know what I mean? You've got to put in the work, but there are tools and folks like you to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
It might look complex, but you've got to put that work in.
Got to put in that work. And I will caution, if you just drop a note in AI and tell AI to fix your resume according to a job description, you end up with a resume that sounds like everybody else that's doing the same.
Yes.
You still have to have that customized portion. And that's where working with someone, again, who can be objective can help you to do that. Like I just recently got a client and he said, you know, explained the pivot he was trying to make. And he was like, that's why I'm not running to Chat GPT and asking Chat GPT to write my resume. He goes, I need to work with someone to help me frame that story and help me to develop what my personal brand is. So.
Well, they know if it's a AI, you know, resume.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone's going to have the same words. You're all going to have the same words, and then it's going to be, you know, a dead giveaway that this was written by Chat GPT or AI or someone, and not by a human being, and that touch. But no, very, very important. To summarize, basically, you know, I believe that once you get a job description in front of you, and if you're trying to completely change, that's where you absolutely need a coach. If you're going for a similar job, you do need to pivot as well. You need to tweak, you know, certain things about the resume. So that's where your services come in, Abby. So thank you. Lots of great information, lots of great insights. So tell us again how they can reach you. If someone wanted to reach out to Abby, where can they find you?
Absolutely. You can go to abbylocke.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Abby Locke, the dash MBA is the URL.
And she looks exactly like her pitch, and like she is now posed. This is not
glasses.
She looks exactly like this, so you can't miss her. And you know, she offers great service. So
it's an opportunity to work with any of you, especially you're trying to make a tremendous pivot. It can seem overwhelming, especially in these times where you're trying to figure out where do opportunities even lie. So even if you don't think that you're going to make the change now, it's okay to do the work now to prepare yourself and to start thinking about it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you. And you know, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put this out there because Abby didn't say it in her introduction. She is of Caribbean descent. She hails from the beautiful country of Guyana, which is where I'm from. So, hey, you know, she is here. So, talking about Guyana, I'm just gonna pivot, you know, very quickly and let the viewers know what's happening in Guyana. We have the Dem Rock Music Awards. So I'm going to go ahead and play that ad on my sponsors. And Abby, if you want to stick around, you know, we can talk a little bit about, you know, just some other changes happening in the country, in Guyana, just very briefly. But I want to start with the awards. So let me just play this for the viewers.
It's a 2025 Demrock Music and Entertainment Awards. Let's go.
Even if you're away.
Firstly, rest up, charge up, rise up.
Let him go. I'm from a kingdom where we live by the laws of God, not the words of people.
They all left undone. It was my fault.
Oh, I think think it's a wonderful experience. I think they should have it every single year, all the Guyanese artists. And I think they should show more, Guyanese people should show more support.
I feel amazing. I feel so grateful to be a part of it. So it's great to see the cultures building together and actually building a bridge closer together.
Don't know why I try to find love in these eyes.
Wow, Guyana.
Now, I know. I wanted to share that with you. I'm like, listen, Guyana is up there.
Wow. I
We
need to
have
go back to
Denmark.
Guyana.
Let me tell you, the Denmark Music Awards is happening right there at the National Cultural Center.
Wow.
So I wanted to really bring that to the table because I know I interviewed Sean on my last show. So if you have not seen that show, please, guys, go and get that show. Look at the show. It's on YouTube. But yeah, we have to support these Guyanese artists. I personally did not know we had so many artists. And that's one of the reasons why he started these awards, because we wanted to give some love. It really is cool. So it's at the National Cultural Center.
Wow.
So,
Taking me back to my childhood, man.
Yes, exactly. So I'm excited about that. I told him I will continue to promote it on the show and anyone who comes on. So here you go. Somebody else knows about the awards now.
Yeah,
And the other people who are tuned in. So so thank you very much for that. So Abby, I just want to thank you for your time. And this was great.
Absolutely. This was
We may have to
fun.
do a part 2 next year because I'm sure by then, not only is AI and ChatGPT going to be really, embedded in a lot of people and how they use it and so forth, but it could be something else. Something else could have come along by then. So it'll be good to circle back next year and do a part 2 of
Yeah, that sounds good, because one of the things I'm really thinking about, I'm still formulating in my head, is like, how to make sure that AI is incorporated in how I, not only how I serve people, but how I help to equip them to leverage AI for their career. So
yeah, for sure.
We should have some good things to talk about then.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, and we will be in touch.
All right, sounds good. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye. So, folks, there you have it. That is Miss Abby Locke. So, what I'm going to do right now, let me go ahead and play some of my ads, and we will see you again. The promo show, season 5 continues, and I will be back with episode 5 next week. So I will see you then.
Yo, Wagwan, this is Moto from St. Lucia, bigging up the promo show with Cazzy Bee. You done know. Lock in. Moto there.